One ball to rule them all, one ball to find them, one ball to bring them all, and in the darkness catch them.
Wait, I don't think that's right. Alright, so welcome back to another one of these Pokemon What If series. I've done a few of these before, but this is the first one that I'm doing as like an actual full-length YouTube video. And what I like to do is I like to take kind of just either famous people or like fictional characters, or it can be whatever really, and just think like, okay, somewhat realistically, if this character had a Pokemon, which one would it be? And so Gandalf, I love Lord of the Rings. I grew up watching the movies over and over, and read the books as well. And for Gandalf, I had a few ideas. Like I could have gone more wizardly, like a Pokemon that's actually more magical and wizard-like themselves, like maybe Alakazam or Kadabra or Hypno. And one of the things I remembered while I was thinking about this is one of my favorite scenes in all of the movies is when Gandalf fights Saruman for the first time, and he gets trapped on top of the tower, and he's kind of just stuck there. And you see this moth kind of like come down, and it lands in his hand, and he whispers to it. And then what the moth does is it goes and gets the giant eagles who come later on, and break Gandalf out. And he like escapes with them. And for whatever reason, I just thought that scene was so cool when I was a kid. I'm not really sure why, but it's just cool. Gandalf is like the moth whisperer. And so I was like, okay, that's cool, that's a really good idea, let's go with that. Because also, in the books and the lore, like Gandalf is associated with moths. It's kind of like symbolic, one of Gandalf's symbols. And I was thinking of a few, and you can see here which one I chose. But the first one I was thinking of is Venomoth, right? But I was like, it's kind of poison. It doesn't really, Gandalf's like a leader, a nurturer. It's not really, it doesn't have the right vibe. And I saw Frostmoth, and I was like, oh, that's gotta be it. Because, it's just kind of like fluffy. It kind of looks like the moth that Gandalf talks to in the movies. And, it's just, the colors, like, has some gradients, some cool colors. It's more whimsical. It's a lot more, like, fluffy, and I don't know, Frostmoth just felt right to me. And then the other thing that just worked and clicked for me was just thinking of them out in the snow, like in the movies when they're near the mines of Moria and it's just snowing like crazy. They're all covered in snow. I figured that having Frostmoth there would have been really cool. So what I did is, I drew him in this pose where it's kind of like, it's almost like an eagle, right? Where he's sticking his arm out like it's gonna like perch on his arm, but it's just Frostmoth, like coming over to chill with Gandalf, maybe like reporting some news to him, or like, giving him the scoop, what's up, where the mines are, like if it's dangerous to go ahead or what have you. I did this illustration on my iPad in Clip Studio Paint, and I made this in a 9:16 vertical format because I wanted to make a Instagram reel and a YouTube short out of it. And you'll see later on I also made a horizontal 16:9 animation for it as well. And I had a lot of fun just messing around. Definitely loved some of the lighting effects towards the end there, and just had a lot of fun playing around with that. And yeah, had a good time. I think it turned out pretty cool as well. Alright, so the main inspiration I had for the animation here was the scene when it's Bilbo's birthday, and it's before the event starts, before all the craziness starts, and Bilbo and Gandalf are chilling in the grass, kind of up on the hill, and they're just smoking their pipes and, hanging out, enjoying each other's company. And Bilbo kind of like blows out a big ring with his smoke, and then Gandalf's like, hold my beer, and just blows a ship that goes through it. And I just thought that was like the most Giga Chad thing Gandalf has ever done. So was definitely inspired by that. And he gave me this idea because I was like, okay, how do I incorporate Frostmoth into the animation? And I was like, oh, what would be really cool is if Gandalf's blowing the smoke, and the smoke, like instead of a ship, it forms into Frostmoth and then just kind of like blows away. Almost like that would be a cool way, like instead of a Pokeball, like that's how he summons Frostmoth whenever he needs him. Like, you know, I need you to go talk to the Eagles or whatever, and just like sits down and has a think and blows out Frostmoth with his pipe. Which, I don't know, I just thought it'd be pretty cool. And the background here was inspired by a still from Adventure Time that I saw online when I was doing some like idea brainstorming and research. And I just love the colors and like the way the sunset looks, and so I just, you know, borrowed the composition and a lot of like how it looks, and changed a few things here and there, and made my own version of it because I thought it would work really well in this world. And you can see the two things I'm animating here are the smoke coming out from the pipe and Frostmoth. I wanted to keep it simple. I didn't have a whole lot of time, so I didn't want to get too intricate with anything. I would say one of the things that I would like to have changed, or maybe had more time to work on, is just like the smoothness of the smoke of like when Frostmoth is forming, and like maybe just making the timing and the smoothness of that look a little bit better, and like maybe holding on to the image of Frostmoth being like fully formed just a little bit more. But you know, I'm happy with how it turned out. I love Lord of the Rings. Like, Gandalf is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time, like top 5 probably. And you know, as weird as it sounds, you know, I was inspired by him a lot growing up. I remember, you know, I tried reading the books in 3rd grade when the movies were coming out, and I got through like halfway through the first book and came back to them later on, and it's just an awesome story, and I love it so much that, you know, making this, I was like, how have I not really made any other Gandalf fan art kind of stuff before? So might need to make some more in the future. But yeah, just, you know, for now, this was a lot of fun and another addition to the Pokemon What If series.
Where to begin?